I'm Leslie from Just Less Creations. We are doing a series right now on summer fruits. So we've already done the strawberry. Today we're going to work on the watermelon. I love watermelon in the summer. There's nothing like having a hot day and then biting into that ice cold, crisp, sweet, juicy watermelon. Today we're going to go ahead and make some watermelon cake pops so that you can wow your friends and family and sell them to your clients, and they will wow their friends and family for their summer celebrations and parties. So let's get started. First thing we're going to need is our cake pop dough. So we've got a bunch of cake pop dough. We're going to pull off a big old chunk. Let's grab a little bit more. Better to have too much than not enough. And instead of rolling our cake pop dough this time, we're actually going to use a cookie cutter and cut out shapes. So this is a great way to introduce using our cookie cutters to create cake pop dough or cake pop shapes. So right now, all I'm going to do is just kind of knead the dough and push any air pockets out that might be in there. We want to make sure that it's nice and smooth. There's no gaps on the inside. All right, I'm just going to push it together, roll it in this nice round pancake shape. All right. So in order to get a nice, smooth, level cake pop, I have two flour formers that I'm going to use. They're less than a half of an inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch. And I've got this silicone rolling pin, and it's got the guides on the sides, and I'm going to use that so it'll make at least about a half an inch for my dough. And I'm just going to roll it. Then I'm going to spin it this way and roll it here until it's nice and even. I only want to make two, but if you were doing it, you could use a bigger rolling pin and a lot more cake pop dough if you needed to make more. I'm just going to make two of them today, show you how it's done, but you certainly can make a whole lot more with a whole lot more cake pop dough. All right, so now that we have that rolled out, I'm going to, oh, here it is. I'm going to take my diamond cake, cookie cutter, and I'm going to cut it in half, so I'll have one wedge here and one wedge here. I'm going to pull the excess off around the outside. I'm going to add that back to the rest of my cake pop dough. You can use that for later. All right, let's remove these. I don't need these now. And then I'm just going to push that out gently. I don't want to crack it. Like so. Then we're going to cut it in half here. So I have my roller. I'm just going to line point to point on the roller. Like so. And then I'm going to use my knife, my palette knife, and cut that dough like so. And then I'm just going to smooth my edges a little bit. So we've got two wedges here. I'm going to round the two edges. I'm just going to push down and curl my finger and round those two edges. The top one will keep it nice, because if you cut watermelon, you always have that point at the top, but the bottoms are rounded a little bit. Now, we're going to round the curve like the watermelon rind itself. Your watermelon isn't square, it's rounded, so we're just going to push up, round it. So we have that wedge, just a little bit. Okay, there's one. And let's do that to the second one. We're just going to get all those pieces nice and firm in there. We're going to round the edge, around this edge, and then we're going to round the whole bottom edge a little bit. And then I'm just going to make sure there's no cracks. We don't want cracks. Cracks will cause air bubbles when we dip it in our chocolate. There's one right there. All right, so now we have our 2 watermelon wedges, and we're going to go ahead and put our lollipop sticks inside that and let that firm up while we make the rest of the pieces. So here's my pink modeling chocolate, or I'm sorry, pink melting wafers. I used plain red ones and white ones, and I mixed this watermelon shade of pink together. I've already dipped my lollipop sticks. If you haven't seen why or how to do it yet, please refer to the other video. We'll link the description below. But right now the stick is already dipped 1 inch down, so we're going to double dip. This is a second dip into the pink, just the tip. We're going to tap the excess off. And here's the rounded part of the rind part, and we're going to put our lollipop stick on this side, the watermelon portion, the fleshy part of the watermelon. And we're going to put it in right in the middle, and we're going to turn it clockwise until it gets firm and it gets snug. You can feel it when it catches, and then we're going to turn it half the turn backwards. All right, and then we're just going to wipe that off, make sure there's no extra. We're going to fix any cracks. We just created a crack in it because I was holding it too tight. All right, and we're going to sit it over here and let it firm up. All right, so what we need now is we're going to put some seeds on our watermelon. What I have right here is just the chocolate melting wafers put in a piping bag, melted in the microwave, and now it's just all soft in there. It's not too hot. I don't want it to run out of the bag, so I'm just going to squeeze all the chocolate to the top. I'm going to spin it, squeeze the chocolate to the top, and we're going to make some seeds for our watermelon. We're going to let it firm up while we work with the other part of the chocolate, and then by the time we're ready to put seeds on, it'll be ready to go. Okay, so all we're going to do to make our seeds is we're going to make a little dot and pull it forward. And we'll pull that excess off when we go to pick it up. Little dot, pull it forward. Little dot. Tip of that off. Now, as you can see, I don't have a tip inside the bag, so that's why I've got a lot of that excess tip on there, because I actually don't have a tip. It's just the piping bag, so I can use it for multiple things. Oh, let me mix that up in the bag a little bit more. It's starting to cool a lot, so it's starting to melt at the very, very tip. Push that chocolate back to the top. Yep. The chocolate's cooling too much. It's been out of, yeah. All right, we'll stop there. If we need to make more later, we will. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our watermelon wedge. Here's the point. So this part is the watermelon, the fleshy part. This is going to be our rind part. We're going to dip the whole thing in pink first, and then we will, when it dries, then we're going to dip it in white, and then we're going to use modeling chocolate here to do the rind portion. But I want to get this dipped so that it can start to firm up a little bit before we worry about dipping it in the white. We can't dip them both because then it'll blend too much. All right. Well, I don't have a whole lot of chocolate in here, so instead of dipping, I'm actually going to pour it. Like so. And then I'm just going to hold on to it and roll it gently by shaking it. Try to get some of that chocolate off at a point. Make sure that when you see an air bubble pop in there, that you actually pop it. We don't want air bubbles in there. Let me move this out of the way. Make it a little bit easier to see what I'm doing. There's an air bubble there. It's very important to make sure that you get rid of those air bubbles. You do not want air to come in contact with that cake pop dough. One, it reduces the shelf life of your cake pops, and it also creates an opportunity for bacteria to grow on your cake pop dough. And if it does grow and it's not caught right away, then it could create, you know, a situation for whoever's eating it to make them sick, and you certainly don't want that. So if you see an air bubble on your chocolate, make sure you pop that and get it covered. Alright, there's still just, I'm going to help that little excess amount off. Just going to shake that and smooth that out a little bit. Alright, then we're going to take the excess off the bottom of the stick, like so, and then we're just going to let that sit and firm up. Let's do the second one. Again, I always hold my stick close to the cake pop when I'm doing this. I don't want a whole lot of jarring. I want some shaking movement going on to force that gravity to pull that wet chocolate down, but I don't want too much that it's going to pull the cake pop off of the stick. And I can control that better when I'm holding it closer to, I'm holding the stick closer to the cake pop dough. Okay, I just saw a couple more air bubbles. I want to make sure I get them real quick. Okay. Alright, now we're just going to sit it over here on the tray and we're going to let it firm up. Push this out of the way. Now while that's firming up, excuse me, we're going to work on creating the rind for our cake pop. Here I have some green. I mixed some yellow in it. There's this beautiful marbling effect going on with our chocolate. So we need to roll it out, flatten it out. So my hands are too warm. It's creating some stickiness on my modeling chocolate. So I'm going to just use some cornstarch on my fingers, rub it on my chocolate. It pulls that moisture out so it's a little bit more dry so I can work with it. And then I'm just going to flatten it out a little bit so I can put it through my pasta maker. I want it nice and even. Just flatten that out a little bit, like so. And now I'm going to put it through my pasta maker here. Let me roll this back around. Alright, move that out of the way. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to create, our rind is about, not quite a ½ an inch. If I take my roller, actually it looks like it is ½ an inch, almost 5/8 of an inch. So that's what we'll do. We'll do 5/8 of an inch by 2, and we'll do 2 1/2, and then we'll cut off the excess. So right now I just need to create a straight line. So I'm going to take my roller. I love this roller. I used it for years when I was quilting because it's clear. It's got all these tick marks on there, and it's nice to be able to see through it. But I'm gonna use it with my palette knife here to make some nice straight cuts. I start out with a nice edge, pull that off, and I'm going to first of all do 5/8 of an inch. It's tacky. I'm going to do 5/8 of an inch. Just kind of cut a straight edge on that end. And then, what did I say, 2.5? 2.5, so I'll go this way. Let me go 2 3/4. I'd rather have extra and not enough. There's one rind, 2 3/4. There's 2 rind, and since I've already got this little section, I might as well do the extra one, just in case I drop one. All right, that's it for that. Put that up there. Alright, move this pink, we'll bring the white, alright, let's give our white a good stir. I had to add about a teaspoon of Crisco shortening because the white was getting pretty thick. I just needed to thin it just a little bit. So we'll just stir in that Crisco shortening. So here we're going to take our watermelon slice. This is the part where the rind is at. So if you remember, you have your pink fleshy stuff, and then there's this going into the rind. There's the white portion and then the green portion. So we're just going to gently dip this part into the white and try to get that angle part. So you're going to push it straight down in just a little bit, like so. And then we're just going to tap that off. I'm just rolling it to get it nice and even. I can see the pink through there, and I don't want to double dip it, but if I keep rolling it, it'll keep that nice thick layer on there. You could let it harden and then put a double layer on, but I don't think that's necessary. I don't want it to fall off or drip off, because then I will have to. So I'm just rolling it until it starts to firm up. All right, let's do that with the other one. Okay, again, here's the rounded part on the rind. So I'm just going to dip it down in a little bit and roll it. Now I'm not too concerned about the air bubbles in this part, only because we already have a layer of chocolate underneath it. All right, we'll let that sit for just a minute. And while we're waiting for that, we can move this out of the way. Let's check our little seeds here. I'm just going to take my knife and underneath it and pop them loose. That one's not going to be a good one. That one is. All right, they're good to go. These should be dry enough that I can take my watermelon rind. I'm going to use just a little bit of water. Let's grab a different paintbrush here. Water is glue for modeling chocolate. Chocolate's made out of sugar, so when you put water on sugar, It allows it to soften up just a little bit so you can use it as a glue. So I'm just going to take this, I'm going to put it around the bottom like so. Well, I guess I could have made it just a little bit wider. Oh, I pushed that chocolate, it wasn't quite dry yet. Okay, just like that. I don't want to push it too hard. Push that chocolate, it's not quite dry yet, out of there. I guess I probably could have waited for about another 5 minutes on that. So while I wait, we'll let that harden up. While I wait, we'll go ahead and put seeds on this one. I'm just going to use my paintbrush and just going to dab little droplets on here. In hand. Let's just go ahead and put this on there. Alright, there we have it. Let's go ahead and put the last of the seeds on the other one while that firms up. Alright, so something that happened, which is really good, I'm glad it happened while we were doing this. Now, my cake pop is still pretty tacky, so I'm just going to kind of use my finger here. And as you can see, or maybe you can't, there's a crack right around the stick because I was holding it without the chocolate completely firming up, trying to put seeds on it, so it was weak and it cracked. So what I'm going to do is as soon as it firms up, I'm going to go ahead and let it sit and firm up, and then when it's all said and done, then I'll come back around and I'll take my little knife and I'll fill that crack in so it actually can firm up without a crack in there. We don't want cracks in our cake pop. So we'll just let it sit and we'll firm up and then we'll come back and fix it. So here we are, watermelon slices. All right guys, I just wanted to pop in here just for a minute. We've allowed the watermelon cake pop to cure just enough that I can go in and fix that crack. So I'm gonna flip it over here a minute. So all I did really was take the back of my knife, put a little bit of chocolate on, and right around the lollipop stick like this, I just added more chocolate. And then I just kind of smoothed it out enough. It's not going to look pretty because you're already going over chocolate, but it will work. You just want to cover that crack like so. All right. So when you do that, then you can just turn it back over. Now my hands are hot, you can see my fingerprints in it. I'm just gonna take it because it's hot, and I'm just gonna use my other finger and just smooth out all of my fingerprints off of it. Like so, and that's it. That's all we had to do. So now we have a cake pop that's ready to go. But that was our build for our watermelon. Thank you for joining us on this episode of our summer fruits. And hopefully you can go and do it, be encouraged. I know you guys can do this. I'm taking the hard work out of it for you. I'm showing you step by step what to do. So go do it. Go play the video, get the tools that you need, and make it. Stop it and rewind if you need to, but go try it. Push your boundaries. You know, be the artist that that you know that you are deep down inside. Let it come out. Be creative. You can do this, guys. I know you can. All right, until the next one in our summer fruit series, have a blessed day, and we'll see you later.